Well, Charles, thanks for talking to us on the club's official website. A couple of games done and dusted, but before we just get into how you think things are going and how things you want to see to progress, I want you to give your view. We've heard from the manager and we've heard from the captain, both Alex Morris and Luke Offord, on a little bit of a worrying situation with regards to the minority of supporters, unfortunately deciding to bring some flares in, or whatever you want to call it, into the ground, whether it be at home or away. As the leader of the pack, as a chairman, what's your message to those fans?
My message for the fans, Graham, is extremely simple. Don't do it. It costs the football club in reputation, it costs the football club in money, and eventually, it's going to cost the team, because the pressure we come under, we do not need it. And not only that, it's antisocial. And as we know, it's had a devastating. I met the poor chap who had to be attended to on the day. He was asthmatic, and he said it happened so quickly. He was in real trouble. Unfortunately, he didn't have his little boy with him, who came on Saturday. And I know it sounds silly. It's fireworks and it's all happy-go-lucky, but at the end of the day, there's a reason why we have these regulations, and they are to make sure that it's a family-friendly environment for all concerned, and be under no illusions that if we find the perpetrators, as we have during the course of last season, they will be banned. There's absolutely no question. They will be banned by the football club. They could be banned by the authorities if it's significantly dangerous enough, but they'll certainly be banned by the football club, and if we can and are able, we'll make sure they can't get into grounds around the country, because we just have to stamp it out.
Well, let's move on then. That's a message we hope that everybody adheres to, and let's move on to what we talk about, the football world and the football business of your football club. What a positive start for you. 2 games done and dusted and 2 wins. I know it's early days, but are there good signs there for you?
There are, as you say. It's a while since we've had 2 games and 2 wins, that's for sure. Listen, when you're relegated, and you're relegated in the manner in which we were relegated last year, the disappointment that we all suffered, all of us, the management, the staff, the players, and most importantly, the supporters, you go into a new campaign with some trepidation. Nothing is guaranteed in football, we know that. So you drop a division, and the first game comes up against Rochdale, who we definitely do not have a very good record against. And I thought we played okay. I thought first half we played well, and second half, we did the things we needed to do to get the win. And at the end of the day, that counts for an awful lot. And Saturday was a pretty decent performance, I thought. But it's 2 games, and we all know it's 2 games. But it's a positive start, and it could have been, it could have been the opposite. So I think most of us around the board table are delighted with the way things have gone during pre-season, close season, and into pre-season, and look forward with real optimism.
Yeah, I was just going to follow up on that. What has pleased you about what you've seen from your new management team in the pre-season, taking on into the footballing season where it really matters to try and get some wins?
For me, of course, it's about how the management team operates. We can all judge in our own ways, and you do every Saturday afternoon, and obviously our fans do, the way in which the team plays, performs, individual players and all the rest of it. But for me, we have to get it right from the top of the football side downwards, and that's about Alex and his team. And what pleases me most is we brought a couple of recruitment guys in January, February of the year, one of whom a lot of us have known for a long time in Glyn, and there's somebody who's very new in Josh Kennard, and made a few changes and shuffled a few people around. And I think Alex has got the basis of a quite excellent team. Now, again, it's early days. He's had the job just over 4 months, and he's got a lot to learn. But I think he's made a super start. But he's done that with the help of all those people in the team who've been around for some time, in the Kennys and the Michael Jacksons and the John Dillons and the medical team as well. So for me, it's been a good start by the management team, and it's the management team which will lead the operation on the field and get us the results that we all hope we're going to get this year in League 2.
The big area that comes under a lot of scrutiny at every football club is the recruitment department. You've mentioned there you've added a couple of people with, not so much experience in jobs, but very good at his field, and Glenn, of course, very experienced and good at his field. And 8 signings have come in, and all of them now have got some first team minutes under the belt. So you must be fairly happy. I know you can't go overboard and judge as though we've got the world's greatest players, but you must be well pleased that you've seen them get in early, those new players.
As I just said, I mean, I've got to look at the way in which Alex and his team operates. We brought in a net 9 last year, 11 in, 2 out, and we ended up with a net 9. This year we brought in 8 players, and we've let a few go as well. Having had the first 2 games, having seen most of the people play, what really encourages me is that the patterns of play and the messages that Alex is trying to get across seem to be working pretty well at this early stage. But the whole process of recruitment is fraught. We saw that last year. I mean, we really did not get it right, and we've tried very hard to address that. And I think we've made some really positive steps under the guise of Josh and Glyn. But again, it's making sure they integrate into the team. At the end of the day, don't let many in and score more than they do. So I'm pretty pleased. I have to say I'm pretty pleased. But you've got to make sure we're level at this point of the season in terms of our enthusiasm. Our enthusiasm's high, but we can't get overconfident. But we've seen, I think, some pretty positive initial performances from the team as a whole and the new players included.
Yeah, we have meetings regular because you're a footballing board and you're close to the manager. How do you see it all working now in terms of their team and your team? You know what football managers are like, and football coaches are like, Charles. They'll always want 2 more new signings. They definitely always come, whether it's Pep Guardiola or Jurgen Klopp, they'll want some more signings. So in terms of finance of that, can you support if it needs, an addition or 2?
One of the disadvantages in this club is it's not one of the wealthiest in the whole of the football pyramid, and as most people know, our salary budgets are amongst the lowest. The advantage we have is that most of the people who play in this system, from Alex, Lee, Kenny downwards, right throughout the organisation, they understand the way this football club works. Therefore, the upside is that the football management, get pretty carte blanche really to do as they wish. The one thing that they do not get carte blanche on is the finances, because at the end of the day, the finances are limited. And we've had a £2 million swing effectively from last year to this year. That's funded by effectively the board and the directors. And Alex knows what he's got to work within. And he is very responsible, he's very knowledgeable, and he's working within it. And he's made a good start. You never say never to anything. Who knows what's round the corner? 2 goalkeepers get injured, then who knows what will happen. But Alex he's made a very good start, both in terms of his on-field and his off-field, understanding what the board expects, what the crowd would like to see, and what the players have to do. And I'm pretty pleased so far.
I think the real positive is, as we spoke about relegation, it can have lingering effects of any football club, and you don't want that. 2 results that have helped. I know you're not getting the lid off the tin, and you're keeping the lid on the tin, but nearly 900 travelling away fans to Rochdale, nearly 4,000 of your home fans for your first home league game of the season. That must be encouraging for you, even though you want to try and bring more in.
Oh, I was amazed at Rochdale, 895 or whatever the number was, and I mean, who knows what the real number was, because there's got a lot behind me in the stand where they shouldn't have been. So, as you say, close on 1,000 of our supporters made a trip to Rochdale, which, let's be honest, is not been the happiest of hunting grounds for Crewe Alexandra over the years. It was fantastic, the support they gave the team, and I think the appreciation that the team showed to those travelling supporters after the game was fantastic. I stood there for the whole time and watched it, and there was genuine joy, probably relief as well, I have to say, but genuine joy. And then on Saturday, I really don't know how many Harrogate brought, but a negligible number, and 3,800 plus Crewe Alexandra fans turned up to watch. A very, very good result. I think as I said to you at the start of this piece, that there's always concern when you get relegated as to whether you retain your support. Now, our hardcore support will always be retained, and we've done, I think, pretty well in terms of the way in which we started to try and encourage the support to stay with us. Our season ticket sales are marginally down on last year, which, given what's going on in the wider economy and the country at large, is to be understood. Hopefully, we'll be able to tick those season ticket numbers up as the season goes on and the team, continues to play well. But the support overall, as I've said on a couple of occasions previously, is just fantastic. I mean, and to hear them singing the way they were at Rochdale was just, it's a joy, isn't it? I mean, you're with me looking across and looking at them thinking, wow, it's great. And it has to have, you hear the athletes, don't you, at the Alexander Stadium, talk about the support as they go around the track. It has to have a positive effect. So I can only thank you, for all of that support, because it's brilliant. It's what it's all about.
I know you won't get carried away, but do you have you got a feeling that your football club, your business is back on track after what was an horrendous 12 months?
Well, we've certainly made significant inroads into correcting it. And I don't think we should get too carried away about how off track it might have got. Football, at the end of the day, isn't a business, right? It's a game, it's a sport. And when you lose as many games as we lost and you get relegated as early as we got relegated, then obviously things look pretty dire. Because, there's nothing worse really in football than being relegated. I mean, relegations, promotion and championship is the ultimate. Relegation is the worst. So, but equally, as we start the new season, we can see all the places, the things drop back into place. And, it's a solid football club. It's built on solid grounds. We've got, if it hadn't been for injuries, we'd have signed 9 of our scholars last year. We actually signed 8. Now, some of those scholars, who are, they're kids. Well, not exactly. 5 of them played in our first team in League One last year. Now, we probably won't see as much of them this year. Rightly so. We'll put them out to good teams for, good loan spells. Connor's just gone up to rate. We'll get as many out in the right places for their development. And, in a way, the least we see of them this year, probably the better. Having said that, you're never too young if you're good enough. So as they have their loan spells and they come back, who knows what Alex will choose to do with them relative to his squad, his injuries and his requirements on this. So the model, the business, if you like, is pretty well set. You have to live with the financial realities, and the financial realities is that we've taken a massive hit since last year. But the biggest hit we took was being relegated in April. That's a big hit. So yes, we're back. We're getting back on track, and here's to the future.
Yeah, just finally, just looking ahead to in a week or so, a couple of weeks' time, you got your first Football Fans Forum. You had your sponsors sort of breakfast launch of the fixtures. Is that something you're going to be telling the supporters, more interaction, more things with people like that throughout the season?
It's something that we, as seasons go by and time goes on, we're going to try and improve on, more and more and more. And the man who sits behind this camera, Ben, is a big part of all that. We need to communicate better than we have historically. And communication is key. It's key to getting on with the wife, and Brenda and I talk about. Well, we haven't talked about that. Well, if you don't talk about it, you end up falling out. We need to tell people what's going on as best we can in the widest fashion that we can. Not everybody's on Twitter. Not everybody looks at the website. Not everybody has email. The printed press isn't quite what it was. The radio's not quite. We need to find new and innovative ways in which to keep people up to date. But I love the Fans Forum. I think the Fans Forum is fantastic. I always expect that perhaps the board might get, a heavy time. It rarely does, which is, testament. And most of the questions which are football related, quite right, go to our management team. And you look, at the last one we did with Dave. I mean, we were not in a good place, but the fans are so knowledgeable. They understand, they get it. the team wasn't playing badly deliberately. Things just weren't right. So I'm looking forward to this one because I think it'll be Alex's first as manager, and as we've gone into this new season, first season we've started without, I think, the threat of COVID for 3 years. Hopefully more people will come. I encourage everybody, to buy a ticket and fill the place out and ask as many awkward questions as they like, because awkward questions lead to, things getting changed and things being done as well.
Well, finally, we've covered a lot of areas. Have you got anything else that you want to add? We'll talk again between now and Christmas time, definitely for a catch up. We've got the fans forum, as you say, that we're going to be involved in. As the chairman, anything else that you'd like to add?
I'd just like people to know that there's an awful lot of things going on in the background in terms of trying to develop the football club overall, particularly at Reese, particularly in terms of facilities, across the piece at the football club, because the better the facilities, then better the potential for the players who come through those facilities for playing in the first team. But I don't want to until we get there. It's just jam tomorrow. But as a board, the board is extremely active. The directors on the board are extremely active. The commercial group is extremely active. Ian Williamson and all the ground staff have been working. They've put a lot of time and effort. And I mean, we got rave reviews from Iceland, from the Iceland ladies and the pitches. That can only help the football team. We're doing stuff on the commercial side. We've got new partners coming in who obviously think, that Crewe Alexandra is a good place to be. And HS2, can have a positive impact on our football club. Nothing dramatic, but it can have a positive impact on those conversations going on there. And of course, if GBR brings its headquarters to Crewe, that's just good for the area, And to finish off on the GBR front, vote for Crewe. Right? Get your vote in for Crewe. It really does matter. If we get the headquarters of the railways back in Crewe, that will help. And we are the railwaymen. So there's just so many positive things, to look forward to. But we've got to manage them, and we've got to be sensible. But between 3 and 4 to 5, we can go nuts. But no pyrotechnics.